Hi, this is Rakesh Naik. Today we are going to discuss about grammar. As you already know, we produce every video in two different languages, Hindi as well as in English. If you want to watch this video in Hindi, kindly follow the link given in the description. And if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you will get regular updates from this channel. So, let us start. Before we start about grammar, let us try to see, is there any impact of grammar in our day-to-day life? Yes, it is there. When we speak something, we follow certain rules. And the rules that we follow is nothing but the grammar. It means if we are following certain kind of a structure, certain kind of a rule to make the other person understand, then that is the grammar. In 1956, Noam Chomsky gave mathematical model for grammar, which is very effective for writing computer language. When we are talking about regular grammar, according to Noam Chomsky hierarchy of grammar, regular grammar is the type 3 grammar and which is having regular language and it is accepted by a finite automation. And the regular grammar is a subset of context-free grammar, which is basically type 2 grammar, which is accepted by a push-down automata. And the context-sensitive grammar is a superset. We name it as type 1 and it is accepted by linear bounded automation. And at last we are having unrestricted grammar, which is type 0 grammar accepted by Turing. All these things we'll discuss one after another. Just you remember the hierarchy in which they are appearing. Grammar are often the alternative way to specify a language. So when we are talking about language, we can be having a finite number of formal rules for generating syntactically correct sentence. And these rules describe how to form a string from a language alphabet that are valid according to the language syntax. And the grammar doesn't describe the meaning of the string, it only describes their form. The purpose of grammar is to specify how to form grammatically correct string. Now you take all these statements and try to relate it to our general English language. So every time we are talking about a grammar, it is nothing but we are conveying something. From computer point of view, we are conveying to the computer in the form of languages. And as I have already told you, the grammar is basically formal rules for generating syntactically correct sentences. If I am saying, I am going, it is giving a meaning and everybody can understand. If I will rearrange the words there appearing, going am I, does it give the same meaning as the previous one? No. It means what? It is not the way that we arrange. It is the way to follow the rule in order to get the meaning of the particular sentence. Grammar is basically a set of rules for rewriting the strings along with the start symbol from where we start our rewriting. Therefore, the grammar is usually thought of as a language generator. And it is also sometimes be used as a basis for a recognizer. What is a recognizer? A recognizer is a function in computer that determines whether a given string belongs to the language or it is grammatically incorrect. So when we talk about language and grammar, whatever we generate from the grammar is a part of the language. So it means we can say the grammar G corresponds to the language that is unique. It means for a particular language, the grammar must be unique. And the language corresponds to the grammar must contain all the string that can be generated by the grammar. As I have already told you, for a language, the grammar is unique. It means whatever will generate from the grammar, it must contain all the string that is there in that particular language. And the language that is not generated by the grammar doesn't comes under this particular language. Or on the other way, if I want to say, the language LG corresponds to the grammar G must not contain any string which cannot be generated by the grammar. So basically, the grammar consists of two different types of symbols. The first symbol is a terminal symbol, is a part of a generated sentence. And another one is a non-terminal symbol. Sometimes it is also called as variable. Take part in the generation of the statement, but never be the part of generated statement. Basically, a grammar is defined formally by four tuples. That is V, T, P and S, where V is a set of variable or non-terminals. T or sigma are the input symbol, also known as terminal symbol. P is a production rule of the terminal and non-terminals. It means a production rule is in the form of alpha derived beta, where alpha and beta are the string on V union sigma, and at least one symbol of alpha belongs to V. Alpha must contain variable and beta may contain variable and terminal symbols. And S is nothing but the starting symbol of this particular grammar. And these notation basically we use. V minus sigma is nothing but all the non-terminal symbols. Sigma are all the terminal symbols. The production rule P, I'll say in the form of alpha derived beta. And S is nothing but the starting symbol, and epsilon is an empty word. So let us see the example of a grammar. Let us say my grammar having V, T, P, S. V contains the variable S, A and B. Sigma contains the terminal symbols A and B. P contains the production rules, that is S derive A, S derive B, B derives B, A derives A derives epsilon and B derives epsilon. And S is the starting symbol. You can see here B derives B. Here this small b is nothing but a terminal symbol and capital B nothing but a variable. So you can see here on the left hand side always we are having a variable, and the right hand side we are having combination of terminal symbol and non-terminal symbol. So let us try to generate the string A from this particular grammar. Then how generally we proceed? So we'll start with the starting symbol, and from starting symbol we are having a production S derived A. So from S I got A by this particular rule. Then from A I am having the symbol A derives AA. Also I am having A derives epsilon. But by using which of this production I can generate A? Obviously I have to use A derives AA to generate a small a or a terminal A. So I have to use A derives AA. Again, the first symbol is generated. What about the second symbol? The second symbol is again a small a or a terminal A. So I have to use this A and generate one terminal A. So definitely I have to use this particular production. So I'll get A and A. So two A's I got. I'm having the third A. Similarly, I can use the same production and generate the third A. And at last, from A, I am having epsilon. So I got 3 A's and epsilon. It means I got these 3 A's. So this is how a string is generated by using this production rule. There is one more way of writing this also. I am having the starting symbol S derived A. And I want to generate small a. So I have to use A derives AA. So instead of A, I write AA. Again, I am having A. In place of A, I can use again A derives AA. I get A and capital A. Again, in place of this capital A, I can use A derives AA and I generate A and A. And at last, for this last variable A, I can write epsilon. So this particular string A is generated. But in short, I can write S derived AA. It means this symbol means by 0 or more single step of derivation in the sequence. From the starting symbol S, by many substitution of these production rules, I can generate the string A. We have discussed what is grammar and what is the purpose of grammar and how to use it. I hope you understood it. If you understood, give me a like and share among your friends. In our next video, we are going to talk about derivation tree. See you then. Take care.